Last time I was here at this tournament, I was a champion.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Special.
All right, we are here at the Minnesota High School State Tournament.
Oh, yeah.
With our good buddy TJ Oshie. And Dan, you're the only one who didn't wear the matching T-shirt.
I feel like a goddamn asshole.
I mean, we probably got some laying around.
I'm
if we
sure
wanna,
we could find
I don't
one.
know.
Point.
Sure,
Get somebody get Jay to go get Dan a shirt right.
I need a black Warroad T-shirt immediately because I am rocking the Netters Warroad.
Yes,
Yeah.
right,
So that's
exactly. Yeah,
clutch. That's
Netters
clutch.
Warroad is clutch.
Yeah.
So, Osh, this is obviously cool for you to be here. Before we even get into your 3 years here, you played your freshman year at Stanwood High, right? And then you moved here with your dad. And we talked a little bit when you came on the pod, but just talk about that move in general and what that was to you as such a young kid.
Yeah, so we touched on it, but Stanwood High School, it's kind of a little bit of a dairy farm / hick town kind of thing. They're big into football, basketball. I believe I was the only kid in the whole school. I think it's like 1,200 kids in high school that played hockey. Probably one of the only ones that even knew how to skate.
Yeah.
Which is so weird.
Yeah, I know.
To think,
yeah.
in this state, you're like, how does that happen?
Yeah.
But it does.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It happened, and it was miserable. And so just family members had been telling me to come out to Warroad for a long time, not because I was some great player or anything, but they're just like, oh, you like hockey, you should come here.
It's free
if you
ice.
like hockey, it's free. And we just never wanted to move away from family, and my dad ended up letting me try it out, go to camp in the summer. I think it was one day. It took me one day to tell my dad, and I was like, these guys are amazing.
Yep.
They brought me in right away. So the move was, I mean, it's like if a kid lives, I don't know, in a dungeon and he moves to Disney World. Like, that's what it was like for me.
Ricochet at Stanwood. Yeah. Ricochet at Stanwood.
Well, I mean, if it wasn't for Stanwood, I probably would have never moved.
Good point.
So
Good
if it wasn't
point.
for the basketball coach telling me that I had to choose between basketball and hockey, I probably would have never chose hockey full time.
How was the jumper, though, honestly?
The jumper's okay. I'm more of like a ball handler.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Ball handler,
Point guard.
disher.
Yeah.
Point guard.
Yeah, point guard guy.
Yeah.
That's what I say too. It's just a sneaky way of saying I can't shoot for shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm more of a D guy.
Yeah.
I'll lock you down on D for sure.
Get a rebound.
Yeah. No, the basketball game is. I wish it was better.
Yeah.
I'm coaching my daughter's 5th grade house team.
No way.
And
Okay.
so, I think the very first time I showed them how to do a layup, I missed, and so that was a bad start for my head coaching career. But I'd say this. We're getting a little off topic, but I'd say that coaching this 5th grade girls basketball team is probably the most fun I've had since the Stanley Cup celebration.
Really?
That is
That's awesome.
Literally, not even. I don't think anything comes close
That is so
to how
cool.
much fun I've had coaching this team.
Yeah.
Is it
So,
just like a riot watching them play, or like what is so fun about it?
I
Other
think-
than the
I
awesome
think,
element of, like coaching your kids.
Yeah, coaching my kids is a super big one because I've never been able to do that.
Of course, yeah.
But I think it's I don't know, like maybe it's from watching my dad coach.
Yeah,
me
that's awesome.
and
Big one.
I think seeing actually teaching someone something, especially girls are sweet, right?
Yeah.
So teaching a little girl something, have her work hard at it, and then actually do it in a game is I don't know. It's just so incredibly rewarding.
I get that.
Like-
I imagine that first basket that goes in, and you see how happy they are. You're like, hell yes,
Dude,
this is amazing.
And, I mean, forced to be reckoned with in playoffs right now. Like
I was about to ask.
came in as an 8 seed, and we're just marching.
Just get in, baby.
March Madness,
They're
bro.
a wagon. Dude. This is unbelievable.
And
this is the actual March Madness.
yeah. But no, it's great. We actually have one girl that hasn't made that many shots this year. She's worked really hard, literally the last 2 weeks. You can tell, right?
Yeah.
She hit a shot at the buzzer to end the third quarter, and we were playing against the number 2 seed, and she literally, everyone went nuts. I sprinted onto the court and went to hug her.
Yeah.
And she just put her hands on her head I can't believe I did that.
Yeah.
And I mean, even her dad's reached out twice. He's like, dude,
Really?
this is that was one of the specialist moments for her, and I think that's why it's so special
Dude,
and so much
for
fun.
Sure. I'm getting fired
I was
up.
gonna say I gotta
Sorry.
go to a game, dude.
No, yeah, hey. We're
might have
playing
to.
on Sunday.
What round
Sunday at
what
11.
round are we in? What round are we in?
Churchill Road. So we ended up losing to the number 1 squad, 13-14.
Okay.
Defensive battle.
Yeah.
Slug
Defensive battle.
Yeah.
And that knocked us out of getting to the championship game.
Okay,
but
yeah.
we beat everyone else all the way
It's
up.
amazing,
So
dude.
And that's, I mean, losing to the number one seed, I don't feel bad about that at all.
We got the consolation championship on Sunday.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a true Cinderella story, dude.
It's great.
Fuck March Madness,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
Like, this is the basketball we came for.
I'm already trying to be like, maybe I just keep these girls training throughout the summer.
Beat the wheels off everyone next year.
At evaluations, I tell them to like just dog it, like only use your left hand or something.
Yeah.
And then I draft them all back, and we.
So funny.
100%.
That's
I don't know.
amazing.
Oh my God.
But
I don't even want to get into hockey.
So sorry. I went on a tangent.
Yep.
As you can tell, I'm super proud of my girls.
Yeah.
As you should be.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a good tangent to go on.
Yeah.
If we have to get back into this, first question I have for you is, obviously you come here and play during the regular season when you're playing for the Caps, but does it feel nostalgic coming back here when you're hearing, like, we can hear the band right now? Like, do you walk in here like, hell yeah? Like, do you feel those moments?
Yeah. So I stepped in the door upstairs and instantly smelled the cinnamon mini donuts.
Yeah.
And it's like a smell that's just like when you walk in, you're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like I'm
So
back.
cool.
And I mean the definitely the band that's like state tournament stuff. You know,
Hell yeah.
bands like competing against each other.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing. There's a special feeling to this building when I come here, and it's been that way ever since back in 2003. And it's like that every single time I play the Wild.
Yeah.
Like every time I come in here, I don't think of like playoffs in St. Louis against the Wild. I don't think about like I had a couple like an overtime winner here one time, which was one of my favorite shots. But I think about like high school in the state tournament.
Yeah.
And this is my first chance I've been back since we won it in 2005, because I've always been playing. And it's a great feeling.
Oh,
walking
this is your
through
first
the
time
doors.
just to the mini tournament?
This is my first time
Wow,
back.
dude, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Dude, that's
last
awesome.
time I was here at this tournament, I was a champion.
Holy
Wow,
shit.
Yeah.
special.
That's
Well,
incredible.
you just mentioned first time was 2003.
Yeah.
As a sophomore.
As a sophomore.
And you guys won as well.
Yes.
What was that like being a sophomore, getting to the tournament? How was your regular season? Do you remember who you beat? What was that whole first experience like?
First year, it was kind of it was almost like jumping on a moving train, like for me, because like
Cool description,
I didn't
yeah.
grow up in Warroad, so I didn't know what everything was all about. I had been to the state tournament. I think we came out here in '96 when I was a kid, but don't really remember. It was either '96 or '94. I don't really remember much about it.
Yeah.
I would have been 8 or 10 at the time.
Yeah.
It was like I don't know. There was just something about that Warroad team. Our one of our rivals, Thief River Falls, and I don't know if this is like actually true, but our guys said that like they're like supposed to be one of the best high school teams like in the nation.
Yeah, okay.
And so we were like, oh shoot, like they're in our section, and we ended up just having like a mean, like pretty offensive team, but like definitely very mean team that year.
Yeah.
And we just bullied people into
Yeah.
like beating them by double digits.
Oh, really?
A lot of times, not in the state tournament. And in the state tournament, I don't remember, but I think every goal I scored was on my backhand.
No way.
Which is weird. I ended up making all tournament team, but it was like, it literally was, there's,
That's such a flex in high school, too.
Yeah.
yeah, I
mean,
Try-
I'm
I
saying
don't
like
know.
that's
He
amazing.
had more backhand sophomore year
My
at Warroad
dad
than he does
just
in the NHL.
always said that, and I was like, I don't know. Yeah, I guess it was. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just when
Incredible.
I got to the net. But it was almost so surreal and almost so crazy that I literally didn't have time to like think about it. I didn't have time to be nervous. I was more nervous my junior year coming in as like the number one team and defending champions.
What seed were you guys that sophomore year?
I'm not sure. I want to say we were pretty high.
Oh, you were high. Okay,
I think we were pretty high. So we didn't have many losses. I think my whole high school career we were 85-5-3.
Gas.
And so there wasn't a lot of losses.
Those are tough nights, honestly.
Yeah,
Those
I feel
8 nights.
you remember the losses more than the wins
Yeah.
at that point. Like,
Yeah.
Jesus, there's so few.
But it was crazy. And honestly, when we won the state championship that year, I was like, this is as good as
peak. We did it.
This is my peak. Yeah.
Yep.
This is as high as I'm gonna get, and I'm fine with that because this is amazing.
This was the dream, dude.
Yeah.
This is the dream.
Yeah.
It's cool to hear you say that it was hard to even be nervous, because we'll talk to guys that won the cup as a rookie, and they kind of say a similar thing where they're like, I don't know, I was just like my first year and won, and that was it. So it's odd.
Yeah.
But going into your junior year, you just said, coming back defending champs, you have a monster year junior year, 85 points in 31 games, but you guys don't win it that year. Tell us about playoffs, like what happened in playoffs that year, and was it like such a letdown, or how'd you feel?
Yeah, I mean it was honestly like demoralized, almost like I felt like embarrassed.
Yeah.
So we lost to Orno, who we had beat the year before, in the semis maybe, and I felt really like pretty good that game, but for whatever reason our team just like couldn't get going.
Yeah.
And it was like
which was it, the final, or which round was it?
It was a quarterfinals.
Quarterfinals.
So we went and played the next 2 games at Mariucci and won like 13-3 and like 10-1 or something.
Yeah.
I don't know what the actual scores were, but I remember we scored a lot of goals.
Yeah.
Dude, tangent.
That's
I didn't know
so frustrating. Like, you lose that game, and then you go to those consolation games, you beat the wheels up, and you're like, why didn't we just fucking do this?
And we didn't even want to be in those other games,
exactly.
right? We're like,
oh, it's a nightmare.
Dude, well, I didn't know that there was a consolation bracket, which is kind of cool because it's not like your season just ends and the boys graduating, you're like, see you never, whatever.
Yeah.
But I didn't know it was at a different rink. And some of the fans last night were chanting Mariucci at people that were losing, and I was like, that is such a chirp.
It's a good chirp.
Yeah.
It's a good chirp.
That is such a chirp.
Yeah. Dude, I mean, that's one cool thing about the state tournament is you have like, if you're from a small town, like you have like your whole town here.
Yeah.
If you're from one of the cities, you have like your whole school here.
God,
yeah.
Plus
sick.
like, parents. And it gets a little rowdy. I mean,
Sure does.
Oh, dude,
kids are ruthless.
We've been seeing it. There was,
they are.
Kids
was
are ruthless.
Like violent language being thrown around yesterday, and I'm looking up. It's like people walking in the 300s yelling down at people, and I'm looking at them, hearing what they're saying, and I'm like, yeah, hockey's talk. But then I'm like, that kid's 15 years old.
Yeah.
Like, this is out of control.
Anything goes when you get to the state tournament. You know, they let it fly.
It's 11, pretty chippy too.
It's 11 a.m. on a
Yeah.
Wednesday. There's a bunch of high schoolers. I'm like, don't you have school? Like, what is happening? It's insane.
Yeah. But no, it's a special. It's such a special tournament. I mean, high school hockey in general, right? Because even if you play in the USHL, you play in juniors.
Yeah.
You might all kind of go to the same school, or maybe you go to different schools, or maybe there's guys that are graduated from high school, and it's just a different vibe. These are like literally your classmates.
Yeah.
Like they are. You see them all day. You're at lunch together.
Yeah.
You're just, and then you go out there and, I mean, you go to war with each other.
Yep.
Which is there's something different about that. It has a little bit more of like a college feel than maybe juniors might have.
Definitely.
Because in college you're in the dorms together. You're getting lunches together and all that.
Dude, so I want to get into your senior year, but before even that, are you when you're a good team in Minnesota high school hockey, are you thinking about this tournament all season long?
Yeah.
Like is it like after a few games you're good? Are you like, it's all about the tournament. Just got to get to the tournament. Like I can't imagine thinking about anything else when this exists.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I went back to Warroad for my senior year was because I wanted to win the state tournament.
Yeah.
So we had Kyle Hardwick, who was heavily recruited and drafted by Lincoln. He was going to go to Lincoln, and I was getting talked to. I don't know if it was like officially like invited to Shattuck.
Oh,
and
wow.
so he was like, hey, are you going? He's like, if you go, I'm going to go. And I like instantly I was like, dude, we're not going. Like, we're coming back. And so we came back, and then
Can you imagine if you cucked him and he was like, we're
I'm
back, and then you're like, I'm going to Shattuck.
never mind, I'm leaving. So and then even that was a crazy year because I was drafted by Sioux Falls, so he would drive from Warroad to Lincoln, Nebraska.
How far is that?
14,
that's
13, I don't know.
Half a day.
It's a lot of hours.
Jesus.
And then I would play in an elite league down here. I couldn't play football because I injured my quad with compartment syndrome. And so I would drive to the Twin Cities, play like a elite league game, and then drive from here to Sioux Falls, play Sioux Falls that night.
Yeah.
After the game, or wake up early in the morning, drive back here, play Elite League, and then drive back up to Warroad.
Jesus,
That's insane.
And so it was,
That was your senior year?
That was my senior year.
And so amidst this, 31 games, 100 points, undefeated. I need to know everything. Do you remember your 100th point? When you went into that season, were you like getting 100 points would be sick?
No.
Was that ever on your mind?
No, not really. I mean, so they had this, I don't know if they still have, there's literally a chat room. Back in the
Yeah. Oh, dude, I lived in chat rooms.
It was called like Min Hawk, maybe.
Okay.
And so like at lunch sometimes I could like go in and be like, I wonder what people are saying about me.
Yeah, he's got a burner,
and
dude.
I would look at it. Yeah.
Warroad fan. Warroad fan 74.
I'd look at it, and they'd have like everyone's stats. So you could kind of follow along. And really all I wanted to do was just lead the state in scoring.
Sure, yeah.
I didn't really care about like 100 point or whatever it was. And also you want to try to win Mr. Hockey, right? And so like if I have the most points, probably a good chance I'll win Mr. Hockey. Unfortunately, I didn't have great grades, so maybe that plays a little bit of a thing into it.
Who cares?
Politics.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
But no, that was kind of it. My 100th point was the overtime game winner pass across after the face-off, and so
that was the 100th point.
Yeah. That's the 100th point.
Yeah,
so they count playoff.
Dude,
points.
That is incredible.
Yeah, so that was number
God.
That
so
was
you went into that game
100.
with how many points do you have that game?
Honestly, I don't know. Dude, I'm really not like a stat guy.
Yeah.
It is so funny though. Like I think about it. 31 games, 100 points. You guys must have just been speed bagging teams all season long.
You know what actually was a little frustrating is what was passed down from Kerry Eads, who was our coach my sophomore and junior year, and then he went to North Dakota as an assistant coach.
Yeah.
Is if we were up by like 3 or more goals, he did not play our first line.
Oh, really? Fuck.
And so there was plenty of games where, there's some small towns that just don't have a lot of people. And so they have like a couple good players, but then it drops off a little bit. And so there's games that get up in the teens. I think we beat Rosa like 15-1.
Yeah.
I don't know if I even played a second and a third period.
Yeah. You would have had 120.
So I'm like, I think I could have had more.
Cost you Mr. Hockey, dude.
I could have overcome the grades if I had got 120.
Yeah. Damn it, dude.
So, no, it was a cool year. It was a really like we were just on a mission. Everyone was on a mission. It was like all business. We weren't cocky. It was just like next.
Yeah. Dude, I feel like when you go undefeated, that's the vibe.
Yeah.
It's like everyone is all business.
Yeah.
Because it's like you could be the best team in the world, but if you're not locked in, you let a couple slip here and there.
Yeah.
But like that feels like a just full mission season.
And honestly, once you get like halfway through the season and you're like 15-0, you're like,
got to do it now.
We should do this.
We're not losing.
Yep.
We actually almost lost. We scored with like.
I was gonna ask if there was a scare.
Yeah. So we were one in the state single A. Moorhead was one in the state double A. We play them. The fire marshal actually had to come take people out because there's too many people in their barn.
Gas. Dude, yes.
Also, that is so money being a single A team beating the number 1 double A team. Like, that's a flex.
Well, it ended up being a tie.
Okay.
We were down 1-0. There was a minute to go, or like 30 seconds to go. And a guy who actually I'm friends with, we became friends after. He came with like 15 seconds left and just literally football linebacker tackled me and just laid on top of my body in the slot and wouldn't let me get up.
Take him away. Take him out of the play.
Yeah. And he literally just laying on me. I'm like, get off me.
Yeah.
And the refs ended up calling, giving us both a penalty. So I go into the box and we're down 1-0. Face off in their end. It was like 8 seconds left. Off the draw, Kyle Hardwick, the kid that could have went to Lincoln. Hardo, he's coming here later tonight.
Yeah, let's go, Hardo.
He walks across the blue line on the face-off, snaps it home, tie game, and then we
is an all-time.
We end up tying. So I think.
So did that end in a tie?
Yeah,
ended in a tie.
Okay, Good.
Yeah, so I think we were 28-0-3. We had 3 ties that year, but that was like the scary one.
Yeah. Oh my God,
that's electric.
And who did you play in the final?
Yeah. So what was the final?
Yeah. And the final was Totino Grace. There's one kid, I don't know who it was. He like shouted me the whole game, so it was a frustrating game.
Yeah.
It was kind of a back and forth game. They played really good. We played really good, and end up the last face-off. The coach called in Aaron Marvin to take the face-off, and I was a centerman.
Yeah.
So he was like, "Hey, coach wants me to take the face-off." I was like, "No."
Yeah.
I was like, "Go over there." I was like, "Just go to the net on the draw." And so I pushed it through him, slid it over, and he had an empty net.
Dude,
and we won.
What does your coach say? Is he like, "My bad, dude"?
Well, we were all. I mean, everyone skates to the celebration to the student section to celebrate, and so.
Dude, that's so cool with the student sections in the corners. Like every time the boys
score,
we're
hearing it right now.
Everyone flies to it,
right to the corner.
In Warroad, what's awesome is the glass isn't very high, so when we win, it rotates. Warroad, Thief River Falls, East Grand Forks, and when we won in Warroad, which was my sophomore year, we ran and literally climbed over the glass.
No way.
And we went into the student section, which is
just skates
amazing.
on.
Skates on and everything.
Insane.
I also love how you remember the name of the centerman that you kicked out in 2005.
Yeah.
Like, that's fucking great.
Yeah,
dude.
Marv. He's still up there. I actually just emailed him the other day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you guys play Orono in the playoffs that year?
We did not.
Okay.
We did not.
Got to tag him back.
Someone from
Yeah,
Totino
that
Grace,
felt
though, at college must have been very upset that we beat him because he broke into my college dorm during one of our games, stole my laptop, boxed it up, and put it under a bridge on campus. In the middle
he go to North Dakota?
Middle of winter.
Or did
Wild.
he?
Yeah.
And,
He he didn't play at North Dakota. He went to college in North Dakota.
Yeah.
And then was like, I hate TJ Oshie. Yeah.
Yeah, and so he just like.
So like it wasn't a prank. It was just like a vindictive act. He just wanted to.
Honestly, I was roommates with Brian Lee, who won Mr. Hockey that year.
Yeah.
We were roommates. He didn't steal his laptop.
Yeah,
he
right.
literally walked.
Just took yours.
We actually didn't lock our door, so he just walked into our room, took just my laptop, put it in a box.
How did you find it?
So I called the cops because I was like something happened, which honestly is like scary.
I know.
Yeah.
That's scary as a kid. And then someone ended up finding it, turning it into him, and they're like, "Oh, hey, we got your laptop."
Yeah.
So I got it back, but it never worked. It was
Yeah,
out.
God
It was
knows
in
what
North
he did to
Dakota
that.
under a bridge in the middle of
that's
February.
Yeah. If he's listening to this, he
it's
owes
just
us a
frozen
laptop.
solid.
It's just frozen.
Yeah. Oh my
God.
But
that's
I ended up finding out through just like people in the dorms,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I was like,
Of course
whatever.
it was him.
He-
Yeah. Should have been your first suspect,
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah.
Truly, yeah.
I didn't know him. I never met him, never
That
confronted him,
is
but
absolutely bizarre.
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Jeez.
dude, to just put a bow on it, 3 incredible years, 2 state championships. What did this experience mean to you just as a player and like a person? You talk about being back here for the first time. So just what does that mean to you?
Man, it was almost kind of like honestly, it was like the start of kind of just me like thinking that maybe
keep playing.
I can keep going.
Yeah.
I'm very naive, and I kind of just always, I was like, oh, I'm just gonna, when people ask you, like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I'll play in the NHL.
Yeah.
And it was just like, that was it.
Yep.
I wasn't like, my dad wasn't taking me training 7 days a week or anything like some of these crazy kids
I know,
anymore.
dude.
Yeah.
Like, it was just, I played all sports and had fun, but eventually I was going to play in the NHL. And this tournament, this experience, even just like walking down here where the Wild walk, going into the locker room, and there's like attendants in like red jackets outside the door. Like, as a little kid, you're like, wow.
Oh,
like,
dude,
their
it's
job
huge.
is just to stand there
Yeah.
and like make sure no one bothers like me, which
Yeah.
it is impossible because you're high school kids. Like, you don't care what's going on.
Yeah.
But and so it kind of put just like a belief into me that, man, like shit, maybe I can keep playing.
Yeah.
Also, the first thing it really cemented, I think, my relationship with my teammates and that crew, and we're all kind of spread apart. Some still are in Warroad, but when we get back together for like the golf tournament in the summer, like
It's
it's
like
like
right back
it's
to
like
where
we
you were.
just
Yeah.
won,
That's
and
the
so
best.
it's
God,
So
super
special.
cool.
Yeah.
Anytime you win, you do something that's very hard, and you succeed at it with somebody, they just kind of become like
It's family.
your brother for life.
100%.
Your family.
dude.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah. So
And then how cool, dude, is it that now you with Warroad Hockey Co. getting to see all these kids doing what you did 20 years ago, rocking the Tylo, rocking all the gear, like all the kids walking around with hats right now. Like, that must be a kind of cool, proud moment for you.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's even when the brand started doing well and getting more recognition, that I didn't even think that this is like a possibility. So
Yeah.
when my partners called me, and I think it was in like the fall, and they're like, hey, I think we're gonna do state tournament, and I was like, no way.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know how the world works, right? Obviously you need sponsors for things, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and you don't, when you're a hockey player, you're just a kid until you retire.
Yep.
Right? You're still like, yeah, you're a grown up, you have kids and stuff, but like, you are a kid.
Yeah, correct.
Like, I was like, oh yeah, I guess like we're a hockey company and it's the state tournament and
Makes sense.
it makes sense. Like, that's what's supposed to happen.
Yep.
And I was like, this is amazing. And so back then I was like, man, if I'm not playing, like, I have to make this tournament. I got to go back. I got to get the mini donuts. And I got to see these kids on the ice.
Yeah. Dude, we go to the media availability yesterday. Like, they bring some of the kids in. They all look terrified.
Oh, yeah.
This one kid walks in. He's got the Tylo neck guard on, and he's ripped the sleeves off.
Yeah, cut
and that's
off.
all he's wearing. And
Dude.
we were like, this is such a good Warroad moment.
I saw your guys' post, and I was like, What that kid probably doesn't know is there's a lot of NHL guys that actually are like,
oh hell yeah,
they like the very first before we had the neck guards, our very first tie-low has our padlock on it that holds your sleeve, your elbows in.
Yeah.
And I was so proud of this. I'm like, oh guys, look, like I engineered this. Well, I mean, I just had the idea.
Yeah.
My team actually put it together,
Yes.
but and I was like so proud of it. And the guy's like, oh sweet. And then I was like, try it out, man. And then we go, and we're in DC or practice. I'm like, putting my skates on. I look over, the same guy I was talking to, literally sleeves cut right off. And I was like,
you know how much effort
This
went
was
into
the
that?
genius.
do you know how expensive that sleeve is? Do you have any idea how much money went into that those sleeves? And I was like, oh well.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hey,
whatever
he's
works,
rocking it.
whatever works.
Yeah.
He's rocking
Yeah.
it.
I will say that Minnesota high school hockey players, they're not scared of making their own styles.
Correct.
You
Dude,
can
we-
tell from the hockey
we got
hair,
sense of that. Yeah, we got
and
a
you
sense
can
of that.
now you can tell from the clothes.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It's the best.